Today, we're talking about the most devastating stock market crash in American history, an event that didn't just wipe out fortunes. No, it plunged the entire world into a decade of despair. So let's break down exactly how this happened. This quote from Joseph P. Kennedy, father of a future president, just nails the feeling of the late 1920s. The story goes he was getting a shoe shine, and the boys started giving him stock tips. For Kennedy, that was it. That was the alarm bell. If everyone was an expert, the party was over. Time to get out. I mean, can you just picture it? The floor of the New York Stock Exchange. Total chaos. People are shouting, crying. A tidal wave of sell orders is crashing down, but there's nobody there to buy them. The dream of easy money was just evaporating, right there in front of their eyes. So the big question is, right? How did the world's most powerful economy just collapse like that? Well, the truth is, it wasn't sudden at all. The seeds of this disaster were planted years before, during an incredible time of optimism. To really get it, we've got to rewind, back to when the party was just getting started. After World War I, America wasn't just a world power, it was the economic powerhouse. This was the roaring 20s. We're talking jazz, prosperity, and this unshakable belief that the good times would literally never end. Factories were humming, and this brand new idea was taking hold. Anyone, and I mean anyone, could get rich on Wall Street. So how did regular people even get into investing? It's pretty fascinating, actually. It all started with, believe it or not, patriotism. The government sold Liberty bonds to fund the war, and in the process, they taught millions of Americans that their money could actually make them more money. This created a whole new class of investors, and you better believe Wall Street was ready and waiting with the next big thing, corporate stocks and bonds. And this really became the motto of the era, didn't it? Buy now, pay later. For the very first time, easy credit was everywhere. You could buy cars, radios, all the latest gadgets on an installment plan. This was more than just shopping, it was a whole new way of life, and it was all fueled by this deep belief that tomorrow was always going to be better and richer than today. So you have this situation where the stock market, which used to be this exclusive club for the rich and powerful, suddenly the doors are thrown wide open, and when the market's only going up, well, everyone feels like a genius. A big reason for this was a guy named Charles Michel, the head of the National City Bank. He basically brought Wall Street to Main Street, opening up brokerage offices all over the country. All of a sudden, anyone could just walk in, watch the ticker tape, and buy a little piece of the American dream. It was exciting, it felt totally safe. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? But here's the thing. All of this excitement, all of this wealth, it was basically built on a house of cards, a fragile foundation of borrowed money and pure speculation. This is how the bubble got so big. Okay, so let's talk about the engine that was driving this whole thing. It was this magic trick called buying on margin. And it was deceptively simple. You didn't need thousands of dollars to buy a stock. Nope, you could just put down a little bit of your own cash, say 10%, and borrow the rest from your broker. And the leverage here was just insane. Think about it. For every $1 of your own money, you could control $10 worth of stock. When prices were shooting up, this made you feel like an absolute wizard. Your profits were magnified like crazy. But, and this is a huge but, it was a massive double-edged sword. It magnified your risk by 10 times too. And get this is the part that's truly staggering. Two-thirds of all shares on Wall Street were bought with borrowed money. The market's value wasn't really based on how well companies were doing, it was based on a mountain of debt. The whole system was floating on a sea of borrowed cash. There were people who saw this coming. Smart people. Banker Paul Warburg gave this incredibly blunt warning months before everything fell apart. But in the middle of the party, when everyone's getting rich, who wants to listen to the guy telling you it's all going to end? His warning just sounded like pessimism, so he was ignored. And then, just like Warburg predicted, the music stopped. In the fall of 1929, that beautiful bubble began to burst. And when it happened fast. I mean, breathtakingly fast. First, you get the warming shot on a Wednesday. The market takes a big dip. People get nervous. The next day, Black Thursday, the panic really kicks in. After a weekend and a brief failed attempt to stop the bleeding, the final blow lands on Black Tuesday, the single worst day in Wall Street history. In the middle of the chaos on Black Thursday, you have this almost cinematic moment. The most powerful bankers on Wall Street, including a guy from JP Morgan, literally pooled their fortunes to buy up huge chunks of stock and prop up the market. It was this bold show of force to restore confidence. And for a minute, it actually seemed to work. But it was like trying to stop a tidal wave with a bucket. The panic was just too big. And the crash. Well, it wasn't just about Wall Street losing money. This was the spark that lit the fuse for the Great Depression, a full decade of just global misery. You can just see the dominoes falling, one after the other. Investors get wiped out, they can't pay back their brokers, the brokers go bankrupt, they can't pay back the banks, so the banks fail. And when the banks failed, the life savings of millions of ordinary people vanished. This spilled into the real economy, of course. Factories closed, unemployment skyrocketed, and these shantytowns, nicknamed Hoovervilles, sprang up all over the country. And this is how that Wall Street crash slammed right into Main Street. Over 3,000 banks failed in just 2 years. Think about that. These weren't just buildings, they held the savings of entire communities. Faith in the whole system was just shattered. And this wasn't just an American problem. Oh no, the shockwave from America's collapse went global, pulling countries all over the world into the economic whirlpool. Every country tried to cope differently. Britain, for instance, they just ditched the gold standard to try and protect their economy. But in Germany, a country already so fragile after World War I, the impact was catastrophic. The unemployment, the social chaos, it created the perfect breeding ground for political extremism. You really can't separate the economic desperation of this time from the rise of Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party. You know, looking back at the crash of '29, it's this powerful lesson in just how fast things can turn. But it also leaves us with this question that's just as relevant today as it was then. When everyone around you is caught up in the hype, when confidence turns into pure euphoria, how do you find the wisdom to see what's really happening? How do you know when it's time to get out?